Hello everybody, welcome to the vlogging panel. Congratulations for being able to read a schedule and being here. It's a wonderful time. That was a wonderful noise. Welcome everybody on the panel. We have David, Ro, Cherry, Louise, Anna and Jonathan. Thank you for all joining me. You okay? You alive? You good?
Yeah, we are.
Right. We're going to talk about vlogging today, which is probably that kind of the mainstay of YouTube where it was originally. So it'll be really interesting to hear what everybody thinks about it. First, I'd like to hear from each of the kind of panel members. Do you kind of consider yourself vloggers? And if so, what is that to you? Should we start maybe at the end?
Oh, no. That in the worst place. Yeah, I don't know if you consider yourself a vlogger, just living life and just kind of filming it, you know? I don't know how you can put like a label on vlogging, but yeah, it's just having fun. It's like the best fun ever. And then you're kind of recording it.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me?
You need to like bring that to your mouth.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about vlogging is that you kind of just go along and do your daily life, like you live your life and you record it. There's no like, there's nothing forced about it, you know? That's what I like about it the most.
I think of vlogging as like, if you're filming something that's not like, I say this in the loosest terms, I realise I'm about to offend everyone, including myself. I mean, not like those high quality, like, oh, we've been filmed on like big cannons and it's been scripted, we've got a producer and a sound man. When you're filming just yourself on your point and shoot and it's very like choppy and just like, this is us, like, that's what I would consider vlogging. And I think that that's a different style of, you know, camera work, and I would call that vlogging. And I do a lot of that on my second channel. So yes, I would consider myself a vlogger as well. But I consider YouTuber and vlogger maybe different, because on my main channel I do a lot of stuff with a tripod and like the Canon that everyone's got. So yes. Yes.
I think there's like two different aspects from it, because you've got like the vlogging, which is very much like on the go. That's what I consider vlogging, like today, like point and shoot, go. Whereas like planning videos, like that takes a lot of sort of effort to do. So they're sort of two different things, but you're still under the sort of tent of being called a vlogger. That's all I have to say now.
I agree with you guys. It's the same. So I also consider vlogging when you just record yourself in the streets outside, not really editing. So yes, I consider myself a vlogger, and I have a camera all the time with me. So.
Yeah, for me, I think that the meaning of vlogging has sort of changed over time. So when I started, because I think vlogging is when the content has to do with what's going on in your life. Okay. So sit-down videos, I started 4.5 years ago, and back then you could do a sit-down video doing an update about your life, and you can still do that, but I feel like the kind of daily vlogging format of going around with your camera and actually showing your life has kind of taken over that, whereas sit-down videos have become more produced, more topical, and that's kind of how the separation has occurred. So yeah, I'm a vlogger.
I think we're competing against someone who's determined to trash the stage.
Somebody vlog it.
Someone give her a camera.
So I suppose in terms of nowadays, there's a lot of people that we can watch who do vlogging or vlog in their videos that maybe when you guys started, there wasn't that many people that were like widely watched that did what we call vlogging. I suppose for people that do kind of daily vlogs or life vlogs, that's kind of a specific format or style. Is there anyone that when they started, they thought, okay, I'm going to go into it, but I'm going to go into it like this because I've seen this person do it, or was it something that came from inside yourself? What's kind of the inspiration?
I copied Zoella. Because when I first started, oh, by the way, I wasn't being rude then on my phone. I was finding an app for Amelia. I wasn't just like, oh, I'll just send my texts. So when we first became friends, I was still vlogging from, I think, my webcam, and I couldn't very well like carry my laptop round on my webcam and like, here I am in Tesco's. And she had a little like one of these, and I was like, oh, that's how you do it then. And she was like, yeah, you should get one. So then I did, and I was like, okay, well, I've watched all your videos with like me in, which were fabulous, of course. And I was like, I'll just do that then. And it's never really improved my technique at all. I just carried on with that, and I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, ours is quite similar, you know, because like we've been doing this for like 4 years. I think 4 years ago we saw Shay sort of was about a year into his vlogs, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, I don't know, we should do that. And she's like, don't be stupid. And I was like, oh no, it'll be fun. And then like it was like in the last 4 years how much has changed, and how like we put out like 30-minute vlogs for like a few months. Do you remember that? And like how and then we started off with like 4-minute vlogs, and you know, we started off doing it when it was just about me, and then Anna thought I was an idiot, and then you started being in the vlogs more, and then you know, we got married and we had kids, and the kids in the vlogs, and then it sort of evolved with our life. Yeah. You know, and that's how it's changed.
I want to go back and watch your first one now.
Everyone should right now.
I love watching people's first ones.
Yeah.
Don't watch mine though.
I think Jonathan's first one, he said, we'll do this for a week and see how it goes.
It was a long week.
So when you first started doing it, was there a point of time where you were making things because you were making it? And then what was it that changed that realization of going, okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep doing this?
I think it was in a month. You know, we hit a month, and I was like, okay. I was like, you know, imagine like you give myself like 5 years to reach. And I thought like, okay, well, like if Shay is huge, and what? Oh no.
Oh no. Do you need to go be a dad?
Everyone ignore that. But it was like if you instead of like giving yourself like, you know, if I don't get like 1 million views by next week, I'm giving up. You know, I kind of said like, okay, I'll give myself 5 years to get like 100,000 subscribers. You know, and that was like a realistic goal. You know. And, do you want to go through?
She likes your goals. She agrees with your goals.
And that's the way a lot of people, you know, if you're going to do vlogs and stuff, like, don't give up after, like, a couple of days if people aren't interacting, you know. It's like, you got to think, like, intrinsically, you know. You got to say to yourself, oh, I need a long-term plan, you know. And then eventually it will happen. If you are consistent with it every single day, people will tune in.
So, David, what are your thoughts on that? When was there a point where you kind of went, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, or you sort of knew what this was?
Well, for me, I didn't start the daily vlogging format until just this year. In January, I committed to just do vlog every day in January, and so I had that locked in as a commitment to get down every day. And for me, like when I commit to a challenge, I make sure that I'm going to do it. So I thought that it would be this large commitment because it was every day, it was my life, and it ended up being a lot easier in some ways because when you do a sit-down vlog, you have to set aside time for filming, and you need to think of a topic. Whereas with vlogging, it's like, oh, the camera's here in my pocket. I can just kind of whip it out whenever, and editing them is way easier. And so I really enjoyed it. It's still only one of the things that I do, and I only really do it for spurts of time. I have friends who have done it for, you know, years and years, and I respect that so much. But I found that with daily vlogging and with sharing my personal life, I need to take a step back, take a break every now and then I end up missing it. I come back and I reconnect, and that's where I am right now. I've just started daily vlogging again, so.
Vlog this a thing right now. I think the interesting thing is what would motivate you per video. So when you go into it, do you think of it from a YouTube sense now that you've maybe, so it might be your jobs for a lot of you now. Do you think of it like I have to do something now because I need a video, or I have to collaborate with someone, or is there still that same starting point in your heads? Anybody that wants to jump in, like what is the first thing that makes you want to make the video?
I'll jump in with that. When I first started, I just did videos as and when I pleased. So I might have done like 9 in a week and then 1 every 3 months, and there was absolutely no schedule to it. And the difference between then and now is it is a hobby and a passion that's turned into my like job. So I'm a bit more aware of like a schedule. So I'm still finding the same joy from it, and I'm still doing sort of like getting my ideas the same way, and like I've not gone like, oh, I'm a corporate company now. I'm still like, yes, I'm Louise. But I'm like, oh, I want to put a video up on Sunday, and it's Wednesday now, I've not done one, so I ought to be thinking about when that's going to happen, and just like maybe being a bit more conscious about having like a schedule and a format, because I think it's better for your viewers, because then you know what's happening, and it's not, you don't forget me, and also you know where you are with things, because everybody likes a bit of structure. I know I do.
So what about Jonathan and Anna then? Because there's both of you involved, or there's a whole family involved. Who gets to say when you instigate or what you film, or?
Me. Yeah. No, I think I don't know. Like I think the person who edits the daily vlogs is like the storyteller. They're the narrator of the entire story. So if anyone's been watching us for 4 years, you're basically watching my version of our family, because I edit it, so I tell a story. If Anna was to take the vlogs and edit the vlogs, she would tell a completely different story.
There would be no vlogs.
Yeah, well, that would be true. You know, but there would be a different story. So whoever edits them narrates them. And what you were saying about, you know, scheduling and time, you know, about a year or 2 ago, I had this idea that if Neighbours and Home and Away could like be on every day at 6 o'clock, it's like, why couldn't YouTube have the same format? So we started putting the videos up at 6 o'clock every single day. And then what we've managed to do is somehow make the sub box slightly obsolete. So when there is sub box problems, it doesn't really matter, because everybody knows that Sikoni Jolie's is on at 6 p.m. You know, and that kind of definitely does work if you create that sort of
Can I tell you how much that works? Zoe was at my house the other day, and she went, "Oh, it's 6:15. Can you join us? Be up by now?"
Yeah.
I went, "Will they?" She went, "Yeah, every day at 6. Every day at 6." I was like, "All right, cool, thanks, Zoe."
Which is crazy because actually I'm more of that kind of like structured kind of a person, whereas Jonathan really isn't. Like he's way more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. And I think like don't let that deter you.
Yeah.
Like if you are that kind of person, because obviously he's shown that it is possible.
It's about the only thing that's structured in my life.
Yeah.
In terms of vlogging, I think like for me anyway, voice is always a really important thing. So how you perceive what you've made afterwards. I think that vlogging can also turn your voice into, like, help you discover yourself even. What do you think maybe Cherry or Ro, when you started to how you view yourself now, has vlogging kind of helped you like establish who you are or who you are online, or did the two things differ?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it changes a lot because you're not. I mean, you're not used to seeing yourself all the time, right? On a screen, and then suddenly you start vlogging, you see yourself all the time, and then you get used to it, and then you upset yourself more. I guess. I guess I was more shy when I was not vlogging before, and then I started vlogging, and then I didn't care about anything anymore. It's like you are in the streets, you are with your camera, everyone is looking at you like, why are you talking to a camera? And then you don't care anymore, you're just talking to a camera and you are doing crazy stuff, and people just, you just accept yourself more. So I encourage you guys to vlog because it helps.
Yeah, like when I started vlogging,
Coke and milk.
we don't talk about that video. Like, you discover so much about yourself, like when you're editing hours of yourself, just staring at yourself. Like, you learn, like, how you sound and all quirky little things. So it's definitely a sort of character-building thing.
I suppose the platform's evolved as well. So what does the panel think about where it might have started? Because vlogging was almost the bread and butter, I feel, of a community-based YouTube in the beginning. When I first found Charlie, was the first vlogger I found, and I felt like it was a very English thing, but we see now that it's a completely global thing. How do you feel that your community's changed in a vlogging sense from the beginning to now?
Well, like I said, when I started doing sit-down vlogs, it was much more about my life, doing updates on my webcam, kind of like how a lot of people started out YouTube. And those kinds of videos, as people's filming equipment evolved, as the viewers expected more from a sit-down structured kind of video, I made those more topical. I started doing reviews, and the life updates evolved into those kind of like showcasing on the fly, in the moment types of videos. So
what was the reasoning for that? Like, what made you say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to start doing that?
It wasn't like, it was kind of a fluid transition. It wasn't a moment where I just said like, oh, I'm going to stop doing life updates as I sit down. I just kind of, I saw that people gravitated more towards topics, and I enjoyed, if I had the opportunity to sit down and actually talk about something without having to do it completely on the fly, I wanted to make it a little bit more concise, have it be a video that if someone clicked on it, it wasn't just me talking about my life, it was more me talking about maybe a specific aspect of my life, informing them of something they might need advice on, and having those be more of a kind of a resource for people, as opposed to if someone wanted that kind of like ambient awareness of my life, what's going on, it was more useful to actually show them what was going on instead of just sitting down and talking about it now that I had the opportunity. It was also, I mean, like with Louise, now that I don't have to film on my webcam and I didn't have to take around my computer, it opened up that option to me. So it seemed like a very natural transition. There wasn't a moment where I decided like it's going to end and start in this way. I just kind of like went with the flow.
Okay. Does that echo across everybody, or do you feel your changes might have been influenced by an overall like zeitgeist of vlogging, like an overall ethos?
I think the way I moved from, I think I did 50 videos on a Flip TV of doing, because I was like in college, I did animation and digital composition, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like Mr. Guitar Man, I'm gonna make all these like cool stuff, and I made all these really cool animations that take like weeks to make, and then you watch it and like no one watched it, and I was like, what? You know, but then I started like, we were walking the dogs one day, and I made a vlog of me just like walking the dogs, and everyone liked it and commented and rated, and I was like, but I put no effort into this, you know? And then I started to realize people liked the, you know, when you go onto YouTube, it's like, you're just catching up with friends. It's not like mainstream media where it's a one-dimensional, no conversation. People that watch our vlogs, they feel like, oh, just let's see what my friends are doing today. You know, so then that was the reason where I was saying to Anna, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start putting up just vloggy videos. you know. So it was more like of a conscious decision.
Mine was because I was doing a lot of sit-down videos that really had no structure and were just like chatty rambles of a woman going mad, really. And then everyone started saying, please, will you do like follow me around videos and like day in the life? So it was really because I was like, well, all right, yeah, okay then. As long as you keep asking, I'll keep making. So please keep asking.
I think more and more the community in YouTube, we want to know the persons we follow. It's like on television or talking about actors, celebrities. We liked Hugh Jackman, but we don't actually know him, or we don't have that, I don't know, that mean where we can know about him. But I think YouTube and vlogging, it helps us to know that person you're following and actually to I don't know, to interact with your public. And I think it's like more and more. I mean, we really want to know that person we're following in the community.
How does, if it does, how does the fact that you might want people to watch it, or you might want to get over a certain number of views, or you might want to increase your subscriber count, influence what is essentially a very personal reflection, such as vlogging? So how does that reality of maybe wanting views or wanting to grow influence what you make, which is such a personal thing?
Yeah, I think you can very easily change yourself, but I think on YouTube it's very transparent. You know, if you're not who you are in the real world, you can't keep that up. So there's no point in trying to like, oh my God, so my viewers really want me to be like have really long hair. Well, I can't keep that up, you know. So it's like there's no point in trying to, you know, or be different. You know, it's just best to be accepted for who you are. Plus, if everyone really likes your videos and comments and stuff because you're pretending to be somebody else, it's not going to make you feel very good about yourself. So you're better off be accepted for being yourself.
I would like to follow on from that point and say that it's really easy if you want to change yourself to suit subscribers, and because you know that you will grow yourself. So there was a little phase about a year and a half ago when I was making a lot of videos and I was like, right, you've got to be like really super perfect because that's what everybody really likes. And I did that for about 3 months. I just thought, I'm watching these back and thinking like, I'm being too much. Like, that's not how I am. And it was good for my channel. I had like a massive growth spurt and I was like, this is so great. And then after a while I was like, it is great and it's nice to have a big, like to be growing so quickly, but I don't really think that's quite what I want. So I just thought, no, I'm going to do exactly how I want to do it. And I feel that like, I know that if I did do this, like, I'm so like, I'm already like quite happy anyway, but like I did it more. Like if I did that, I know that my channel would grow really quickly, but I'm like, I just can't bring myself to be that like not quite right version of myself. I would rather like be true to myself. And then I know that the people that are subscribing because they like Sprinkleofglitter, not because they like Sprinkleofglitter plus a lot of Red Bull, and that feels better to me. So I think it's really cringe, but like you do have to be true to yourself. I'm cringing that I said that, but it's authenticity. We'll go for that instead, less cringy. Authenticity. Be authentic. That's the point I'm making.
We sort of touched on another element there, which I think's quite interesting in terms of the role of vlogging in attaining an audience. So the platform, it seems to do well. Like you said, you had that growth spurt when you did certain videos and you're in a certain way. Mm-hmm. Vlogging can be, correct me if I'm wrong, a good way to gain an audience. Is there a shift when you go from, okay, I've put this kind of grind in to get to this place, now I'm going to relax a little bit, or I'm going to change little things up? Is there that moment for any of you guys?
We've definitely had that, I think. Yeah. I mean, I think there was a time when, especially when we first started vlogging, we would think, okay, what are we going to do today? Like, it's going to be boring if we don't do anything, if we just laze around the house. So it's not like strategically thinking of things to do, but just like, oh, maybe we'll go to the park, or maybe we'll go visit this site, or, you know, do such and such a thing, or go shopping. But then you reach a point where you just don't need to do that anymore because your audience, they like you. They just want to hang out with you, whether you're going out shopping or not.
It's kind of like dating, you know, when you date someone at first, and then you're kind of like, you have to go to like the cinema, or you got to go to a restaurant or something, and after a while, when you're like comfortable together, we can just like sit in our sweats and watch TV.
What a lucky woman you are.
Yeah.
No more dates for you.
Yeah.
Over.
I think Cherry would be an interesting one for this as well. So I think you maybe like, you've grown a lot this year or the last 2 years, right?
Yes.
Because I remember, because we were mates before you were grown as well. Like, how did it change? Because I sort of saw a change in your output after you started to grow. And I think it was just like more effort. Like, I think probably like the thumbnails looked great and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
How
mean,
did your mindset change?
I
if it
think
did?
like when your audience grows, there is that added pressure of you want to impress these guys and you want to keep them happy.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to disappoint them. So, yeah. What was the question?
Does that is that something that like is a key thing, I suppose, or did it happen? Like when
like,
you thought,
did I change?
yeah, so I've started to grow, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And put this in.
I don't know. I think with like videos, like as these guys touched upon, like you have to be yourself, because if you're not and you're coming across as like this persona that's not really you, then it can get quite exhausting, in my opinion. Like having to keep that up. And as Louise said, you want people to like you for who you are.
Yeah.
So.
And to add to that, I mean, as authentic as we try to be, vlogs are really still just a representation of who we are. You're never going to be able to show 100%. And so it is kind of, especially as you grow and there's that added pressure, it's sometimes hard to wake up every morning making the thumbnail that you want to represent your day. And it's almost like, okay, well, how am I going to market yesterday and then live today so that tomorrow they'll be proud of what I did today? It's hard to have that mindset of people, knowing that people will be watching what you're doing. So it's kind of always balancing staying authentic and not letting that get to you, I guess.
I think one really amazing thing about YouTube as a whole really is the community. And we have a panel from all over the world here. How have you found your own communities in, you know, where you live, if it's London or Spain or America? Or how do you find those communities? Are they active? Is it when you come to a different place like this, where everyone's, I assume, might be from the United Kingdom mostly here? What's your community like? Maybe you start with Ro.
I'm from Spain, so I do Spanish vlogs. And yeah, well, now it's starting a lot in Spain, not as much as here, so we don't have still something like Summer in the City or the VidCon in the US. But it's starting, so probably we'll have one soon. But in terms of YouTubers, so not officially, so in terms of the community of YouTubers, we are really, really active, and we work all the time together. We collaborate with each other, and we do some informal meetings, and we tend to be friends. And actually, I live with 4 other YouTubers in my own house, and it's been great. It's been almost a year, and we are friends already, and we do videos all the time, and yeah, it's quite active. So yeah, we will invite you soon to Spain.
Yeah, what's it like in America? Is there a different attitude here to America in terms of vlogging and community?
Well, I just landed here like 4 days ago, and I was very nervous to daily vlog on the streets of London, because at least in like Los Angeles or New York, I felt like as I daily vlogged on the streets, people kind of just accepted it and were like, oh, everyone's weird here. Like, that's fine that a guy is talking to himself into a camera. And here the streets are a little bit more quiet, and it's always funny looking back at the footage to see the people in the background just like looking at this kid like, what are you doing? So, I mean, I'm still adapting. I haven't been here quite a long time, and most of my daily vlogging has been within this convention. So I'm sure that I will adapt as I go on. But I've already noticed that there is kind of a difference. Things are quieter here.
Is that something that you might take on, or is it something that you feel is less business-minded, or does it impress you, or is it negative than that? That it's more casual?
I mean, it's a challenge I'm willing to take on. I'm very committed to maintaining the dailies. So I'll learn as I go, I think.
So I think collaboration is something a couple of you have mentioned. Vlogging and collaboration go kind of like hand in hand, right? I suppose, Louise, you could speak a bit about collaboration. In terms of vlogging, how would you instigate it? Is it
I love
important?
a good collab. Love it. And I know I say it wrong. I know it's collab, but I like to call it a collab. So it's my most easy collabs are like when I'm vlogging, I'll be like, oh, it's a Scary Jolie. So like, I suppose that's a collab. But to me, collab is when it's on your main channel and it's like, so, I mean, hands up if you've seen one with me and Zoe, or the one I did with Jack a couple of days ago. There's some of you without hands up. That's very disappointing. Like where you're like, okay, so we'll do 2 videos, one for my channel, one for your channel, and we'll upload them at the same time, and you get all the crossover. So that's what I would call like an official collab. But also I've enjoyed really doing things like when you're just out and about and you're filming, or like Zoe might be vlogging, or someone else, or like you film me today, and number one, it's like great for channels because like viewers can discover new people and you can find a new audience. But also it's just nice because it's nice to be around people that all do the same thing and they all get it. A lot of the time, people are like, are all your friends YouTubers? I'm like, no, they're not actually. It's just that I feel a bit weird when I'm at like my Auntie Edna's to be like, Auntie Edna, we're just having a cup of tea, because they just don't get it. So it's nice. I really, really, really enjoy the collaboration side of things. It's like my most favourite thing. It gives me all the warm fuzzies.
So I suppose people that maybe are starting out, like, how would you instigate that sort of interaction?
Just ask. I would just be like, just send a nice message. I really always appreciate it when people say, I'd love to do something with you. And more often than not, they go, we don't have to do anything for your channel, but I'd just love to have you on mine. I'm always like, that's so nice of you. And more times I'm like, yes, we'll do something, definitely. But I like it when they say that because you know that they're not being like, I just want to use you to be on your channel. It's like, well, that's nice. You just want to like spend some time with me and we can work together and make something really fun for you. And oftentimes you'll like become friends and develop a relationship and then down the line be like, I'd love to have you on my channel. So it's nice when people seem very genuine and just want to work with you because it'll be fun and interesting rather than like, this is a business transaction. YouTube is so much about relationships and friendships, and I think that's the key, the friendship, rather than like, okay, if we both do a video, then approximately XYZ people will come over. Like, when you're doing it for that, you're like, heart and soul isn't in it. So I would say approach, but approach with a kind heart.
And you can never predict those crossover numbers anyway. Like, it could, some people could come over, no people could come over. So if that's your aim of doing it.
If that's your aim, you've gone wrong.
What about doing a daily vlog or a life channel? Is collaboration something you think about? Like, damn, I wish we could do more, or we're going to have a dinner party?
I think like
YouTuber dinner party, amazing.
Yeah, I think like what Louise said, it's more relaxed, but you definitely do collab and you definitely do see how it can help your channel grow. Like, I mean, we've only been in the UK, I think, 2 months? Yeah, 2 months. And in the space of that 2 months, we've met more YouTubers than we ever had back in Ireland, just simply because it's just not really a done thing there as much. It's growing. It's almost there, but it's not like the UK. So I definitely think you can see in the last 2 months that we have grown from that. And that is definitely to do with the fact that we're hanging out with other YouTubers and there's crossover, and it's just a more natural approach, I think.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in the community now, whereas before it was like, oh, the Sconjolies from Ireland, whereas now it's like, oh, the Sconjolies.
Yeah.
They're in my house.
I didn't invite them. They just broke in.
They just showed up. Part of what made my first month of daily vlogging so easy was that I was living with a daily vlogger, my friend Neil, and while we were together, we were both daily vlogging, so people started finding that they could like figure out pieces of our day through watching both of them, so it was kind of like getting 2 different points of view, which was, I think, like the most, that's probably the closest to a collab daily vlogging can be, I think, like when it's kind of a day half represented on each channel. And that was really fun because then you'd start getting comments about the other video on your video, and it just, a lot of people watched both, and it was nice to see the audience get so involved in both of our channels and invested in how we were spending our time together. Yeah.
I think it's even easier to have collabs in a daily vlogging channel, because it's, especially if your friends are YouTubers, like Louis said, and then it's easier to just grab the camera, and then they won't look at you like, why are you taking the camera out? Because some people, they don't feel that comfortable to be recording and putting on YouTube. But I think it's really easy to have this type of collaborations. Well, you simply appear on the video, and then they liked you, and then they go to your channel to see who is this girl who is in the channel of Louis or someone else. So it's I think it's even easier than actually crossover actions. Yeah.
I think a thing that I don't understand about vlogging, or that kind of intimidates me about it, is if I make a sketch or a short film, I know that the completion of that is its goal. It's self-contained within that little package of what I'm doing. Vlogging seems to be just this kind of eternal flow. Like, how does that structure of, okay, beginning, middle, and end, or what I'm going towards or what I'm working towards, how does that interact in your mind? Is that sort of thought there?
I got an answer.
Go for it.
I think the best way to describe daily vlogging is the conversation. You know, it's like, it's a never-ending conversation but the longer you've been watching and the longer you're involved, the more you get out of the conversation. So if you've been watching us for example, 4 years, then when we have that, our conversation holds a lot more weight with you because you're involved, you know the people, you're not, you know everything about it. Whereas if you're watching for 20 minutes, then you're like, oh, what's that? And who's that? And who's that? And who's that? You know, so it is like a never-ending conversation. It gets better the longer you're watching it or being involved.
Louise, any thoughts? Is there a narrative going on in what you're doing?
Well, I don't vlog every day. I am trying to vlog every day of August, but I'm a commitment phobe, so I'm not committing to it. As I say at the end of every vlog, I like, see you tomorrow, maybe. So for me, it's just when I have like a fun day where I'm like, oh, I'll just do a homey day. And for me, the structure is the day. So like the vlog starts in the morning and ends at the night, and that's my structure, and then I just know I've got to edit it. But editing daily vlogs, it's not like editing short films. It's just put all the clips together, jobs are good un. So for me, the structure is the day.
Interesting.
Insightful.
Cherry?
Well, obviously I don't do like daily vlogging. I have done it when I went to Ibiza in April, but I've already forgotten the question. I'm really good at this.
Like, what's the path? How do you, if you're going to do it for a long time, how do you think in your head what your goal is? If your goal is just doing videos all the time, like about you. I'm just going to touch upon the daily vlogging thing. I have a lot of respect for people that can keep that up because it's quite hard to do. My mind's going blank. That's all right. We can move on and talk about then and now, I suppose. I think now YouTube's in a very amazing position. I mean, this event is proof of that. Vlogging never started off in this situation, and the way in which they vlogged was never started off how we vlog now. How do you view the difference between then and now in terms of you doing vlogging, and is there anything bad that we've lost, or is there anything good that we've gained? Like, where do you feel the state of vlogging specifically is?
I think people are a lot more accepting of it now. It seemed like I feel less shy about vlogging out and about, and I feel less shy about vlogging with friends because people are like, oh, that's a thing. So even if they haven't heard of your channel, chances are they've seen something about it somewhere because it has been in traditional media now. It has been on TV, it has been in papers and the radio and the news and that sort of stuff. So although people are like, oh, yeah, that thing, it's not just like, what? So I quite like that people know more about it so you don't feel so like weird telling when people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I look at them, I'm like, housewife sometimes, because it's just easier. But now, like, I'm finding it easier to be like, I'm a vlogger. They're like, oh, yeah, I've heard about. So I'm just like, yeah.
So with traditional media, you mentioned traditional media. Is that a goal of anyone? Does that even come into someone's mind anymore? It's like, oh, I want to be a presenter because I talk to camera, or I want to work in traditional media. Does anyone see vlogging as like a pathway to other things?
I think there's a lot of opportunities with putting yourself out there on the internet. It's almost like your CV, but in video form.
Anyone else like to?
Yeah, I would say that channels are almost like a portfolio of work, especially if, I mean, whether it's daily vlogging, whether it's topical videos, whether it's a music channel. And for me, I'm going to school for acting right now, and that's kind of like my focus outside of YouTube. So I would like to think that eventually, like, I could do, be in somebody's web series, or it could branch off to more acting work, because that's another really main interest of mine. So yeah, definitely. And also this year I just started doing music covers, and I've been singing since I was 6, but I never shared it with the internet. And I think that daily vlogging in January actually really gave me the confidence, having an audience, because daily vlogging audiences, I mean, I'd never seen such support. And so that kind of gave me the confidence to, in February, start singing. And I was really pleasantly surprised with how supportive everyone was, because I was nervous as heck to put that out there. So it can definitely branch off to whatever the person wants, because at the end of the day, a YouTube channel is just about you, and it's whatever you are passionate about, whatever you want to do. And so it can lead to whatever you want to do.
It's interesting. Well, Louise, do you see presenting in your future? Is that something you look at?
It's not something that I'm like every day being like, please God, get the call today. But I'm always interested to hear what people have got available. And also, if you said 5 years ago, what do you want to be sitting on a stage doing a panel talking about vlogging? I would have been like, what's a panel? So I never want to say I want to do this, because I don't know what's available in 5 years. Like 5 years ago, I didn't know this was available, so I wouldn't have picked that. So I don't want to pick something in case like there's loads of cool, amazing things available that we don't even know exist yet, because with the way everything changes, like everything's just so freaking cool that I don't want to be like, yes, presenter, because you just don't know. Just don't know what's out there.
I love your voices. Yes.
Yes.
Everything does change so often. With that in mind, how do you do the behind-the-scenes bit of the YouTube channel? So how do you manage a channel because people make stuff, you want more people to see it, so there is a growth element in there, and that doesn't detract from creativity. How do you manage that side of a vlogging channel? Is the tagging methods, is the thumbnail tips, is the schedule tips? Who wants to jump in on a real maintenance kind of angle?
Yeah, thumbnails and titles, I always say, are the most important thing on the videos, because it's like if you're flicking through, like in someone's sub box, they could have like 1,000 subscriptions, and you need a thumbnail that stands out. And like in our particular vlogs every single day, that is like being a daily vlogger. The hardest thing I always say is the title. Coming up with a title every day that's good. You know, and some days you're like, I just don't want it. You're like, bleh. You know, but you're like, what's the point in building? You know, it's like, oh, it's so hard. But then the thumbnail as well, you'll scour through. Like our vlogs usually about 15 minutes, you know, 24 frames per second. You go through every frame looking for a really good shot, you know, and then filter it. And, you know, it is probably harder than filming it, editing it, all that kind of stuff. Just thumbnail and title.
And I think you can get really bogged down.
You can.
Like
You can
end up sitting and you'll realize like an hour will fly by and you're in the same spot, like looking through a video to find just like one thumbnail, and you just realize, okay, I'm just gonna pick one. That's it.
Do you find that when you've been doing it a long time, when you're filming, as you're filming, you're like, that's going to be the thumbnail?
Yeah, that happens.
Because I do, like, for my vlogs, I do four images all set together in, like, a mosaic. And sometimes with vlogging, like, there's been times that I've actually been with Zoe, and I've been like, Zoe, smile, I'm going to use you for the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And she's like, lol, lol, lol. I'm like, I'm serious. So, yeah, I'm serious.
A lot of effort goes into thumbnails. I do the thing, like, obviously I don't do daily vlogging, but when I'm filming, I will start recording when I filmed my video, and then afterwards I will press record and sort of pose in front of it to try and get a good thumbnail, because, you know, the thumbnail is what leads people to your videos and makes them want to click it. So you do have to sort of put a lot of effort into it.
When you do this with your makeup, if it's a makeup video, you just sort of go...
Yeah, you're just like...
and stay really still, because you know you're going to take a still of it, but then you find yourself going...
Yeah, it was just like that.
The worst is when you're doing a collab and you're like, we need to do a thumbnail. Like, me and Zoe just automatically like, okay.
It's a very awkward moment indeed.
I want to get all the footage and just make like a montage of like making thumbnails. Just like
the bits you don't see.
How to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm interested. How many people are vloggers or want to vlog or consider themselves vloggers in the room?
Don't be shy. Hands right up.
Gosh, that's not
That's
many
not
of you.
that much.
And how many of you have put other vloggers in your tags? I have.
That's naughty.
Naughty.
It's very
Is
naughty. Unless
that-
they're in your video.
Is that something? What's your view on tagging?
I think that you should tag what your video is about. So, like, I'll always put Sprinkleofglitter, Sprinkleofchatter, Baby Glitter if she's in it. And then, so, like, today, I've had the Saucony Jolies in my video, so I'll write Saucony Jolie. Like, I'm a bit rubbish with tags. Most of the time I don't bother because it's, like, boring. I'll put Amelia in my tags.
Yeah.
But, like, so...
Meltdown.
Alfie's not here today, and he's not going to be in my vlog. And even though I'm talking about him now, I still wouldn't write Alfie in it because I feel like it's sort of a little bit usy.
Okay.
So it's cheating as well. Like, for example, it would be tempting to put One Direction naked as a tag, but it's wrong because One Direction aren't naked in your video, sadly. But then if someone's searching One Direction naked and they come across your video, first of all they're going to watch your whole video, waste time, be like, there was no Harry Styles bottom in this, and also like they won't trust you because they'll be like, well, this girl's clearly just a bit scammy. I'm very passionate about tags, as you can see.
I think your retention will be bad too,
Yeah.
which is something that you know a lot about.
Yeah.
If people, you'll get better retention if you're honest with your viewers, and you want that because that is a good thing for your channel.
Yeah, like there was a time when YouTube, you know, you could put misleading titles and thumbnails and get views, and you know it was good for your channel. But now the whole system works differently. It's all about minutes watched. It's about how many people interact and engage with your footage, rather than trying to manipulate people into clicking on them. So if you got 10,000 people to click on your video because they didn't want to, that actually is damaging your channel, rather than getting 10 people that actually will watch it from the start to the end. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry, do you have a
I think it's an unspoken rule that you shouldn't put people that, like, you know, anyone could put like, oh, PewDiePie in their tags and expect loads of views from it, but then that relationship between you and your viewer is already like broken because you've lied to them essentially, and it is very bad for retention because people will click on your video and think, well, PewDiePie's not in this, and then click off it.
You can also see people's tags if you want to. There's
Yeah,
like
there's
some
apps that you can get.
yeah, there's
I
apps
did
you
not
can
know
see.
this.
Yeah, there is. And I've known like YouTuber friends who have seen that other people have put their channels in and been a bit like, "Oh, that was a bit of a like not cool," and now they've sort of like ruined that potential future like A, personal relationship, and B, like business relationship. So it's not worth it.
It's like catfishing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's false advertising.
So we spoke about mindset of vlogging and where it comes from and the tagging side of it, but it'd be interesting in what is your promotional avenue then if you do want to grow? Where do you post, because if I make a sketch about a movie, I'll post it to blogs that blog about that movie. You can't really do that for vlogs, or can you? Where do you sort of promote yourself if you're trying to reach new people?
I think that all of our peripheral social media with Twitter and with Instagram and Facebook pages lend themselves most to daily vlogging because that's where people go to get to know us in the first place. So I think that always posting daily vlogs on Twitter, on all of those, and having little clips on Instagram sometimes works best, whereas dedicated video or dedicated movie blogs would work for yours.
So Ro, what do you think? Well, where are your avenues of promotion? Do you think about that at all? Is that not even a thought in your head? Promotion?
I think, yeah, we all think about it. I don't think that much about where to actually place the video, but maybe about the title. I think it's really important. So if your title is general or you think it's going to be looked for oftenly, then it helps to use that title as long as it has to do with the video. So it's always a balance between an interesting title, a general one that is not only for your subscribers, but also for other people who might find you because of that title. And so you always need to keep a balance. But normally I think more about the title to look for new people more than, Twitter, it's also a good platform to find also new public. But yeah, I will say I always think about the title.
And also, just a note that at least I like having text on thumbnails, and so it's like a second opportunity for a title. And so in dailies, most of the time, I'll have the title be one thing from my day that's interesting, and then on the thumbnail, you get like a second chance. So if one thing doesn't catch their attention, then maybe the text on the thumbnail does. And like the image will go with, it's just like two different.
I do that. That's a good one. I do that.
Well, that's all we've got for this bit. We have 15 minutes left. I'd love to take questions from people if you have questions for anyone in the audience. You might have to shout it and then I'll repeat it back for people. Shall we have you? Yeah. Oh, we have a mic. Hang on. He'll run at you with the device.
Technology.
Hello. This is a question largely for Ro. Because you do Spanish vlogs, do you find if you did a vlog speaking in English, you might get a bigger viewer base coming to see you because most people on YouTube are often able to speak English as opposed to Spanish?
Yeah, I think so. But so you always get that question before you start a channel, especially if you speak in English, then you say, okay, do I want to do my channel in English or in my native language? And I guess it also depends on the context. So when I started doing my channel, which was 2 years ago, my boyfriend, he had a daily vlogging channel, and I appeared in that channel. So people started to know me, and they started to ask me to open a channel of myself. And then for me, it was already awkward if I opened a channel and speak in English, because already I had a public there who wanted me to appear in a video, and then if I speak to them in English and they don't know English, then it would be ruined. So, and also that part, yes, it was important for me to decide to open a channel in Spanish, but also because I think it's my native language is like, who am I? I mean, who I am, right? So if I speak in English, even though I think I can reach more people, I'm not myself completely, or I cannot speak as fast as I speak in Spanish, for example, and then that will not be good for me in the end. I wouldn't be happy with the channel. So even though, yeah, you have a very big public or audience in English, I chose Spanish for those two reasons, I think.
Another question? Thank you very much. Someone, the girl at the very back with her hand up. There we go. I'm just giving him exercise. It's just like the relay, isn't it?
Daily vlogging especially, but also just normal vlogging, it's such a massive kind of undertaking. How do you keep up the motivation for it on the days that you're like, I really don't want to film my life at the moment?
A very good question.
Anyone specific want to
Yeah, I think for us definitely is, you know, like, I don't know, the hundreds of thousands of messages every single day that you get of people that, you know, you don't realize how much you're influencing people's lives or how happy you're making people feel. You know, we're just like messing about with the camera and the kids and just going about our life. But then you get these messages how you've influenced people's lives, or someone's going through a really hard time and you've made them better, you've made them happy, and then you're kind of thinking, okay, well then I am committed to do this every single day. This is the least I could do, is put up a video every day if I'm making people happy.
It definitely helps as well that we are a team.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky in the sense that if Jonathan is having a bad day, which doesn't happen as often as my bad days, thankfully, because he's the one that edits, he can then pass it on to me for that one day, and I can kind of like almost pick up the slack, and vice versa. You know, it happens a lot more, obviously, because I'm a woman. I have a lot more meltdowns than he does, but he's always there to pick up my slack, and it definitely helps that we are a team in that sense.
Yeah.
I think it also helps to actually consume other YouTubers' channels. I mean, to me, it helps a lot if I watch a video of a YouTuber that I really like and I'm following her or him, and it helps you to say, hey, I can do the same, I can be working hard, I can be spending my time recording videos, editing, and uploading it instead of just laying on the sofa maybe, or doing something else. So I think it helps to actually watch others doing what you want to do.
And you're right, there are days where you don't feel like filming your life, but I've actually found that daily vlogging is like kind of therapeutic in that if I didn't have to film my life, I would probably mope around on days where I don't feel great. But since I have this responsibility to connect with people every day, it forces me to look at things in a more positive light. If I am going through a struggle, chances are I'm not going to pick up the camera and just complain about it. I'll probably try and find the positive light in it, try and find a way to communicate a lesson that can be learned from it. And so when I'm daily vlogging, I'm happiest because I have people that I can relate it to and share it with.
That's great. That's like self-therapy. The way that questions are organized are always innately unfair. So probably the first person to stand up or jump can get the next. Oh, there you go. There you go. Who's your question for?
Hello, I'm Rebecca. I make videos as well, but one of the hardest things I find is how to know what's funny and what's not. Like, if people say, oh, you're really funny, but then you don't think it is, how do you do that with editing and stuff?
Anyone
like,
specific you'd like to ask?
My rule of thumb is go what you think is funny, because they're your videos, and like I watch my own videos back and I'm like, ha ha ha, lol, genuinely, like, also, like, the other night I was laying in bed on my own in a hotel room and I thought of something that happened that day and I went out loud, then I was like, it's awkward. So if you think something is funny, leave it in, and you'll find people that like your humour and they'll relate to you. But if you're like second guessing yourself and you're not sure and it's inconsistent and you're like, oh, is that, just go with what you think is funny. You won't go wrong.
Yeah,
I bet you're well funny.
Oh, I like to think so.
You do sketches as well, Cherry. What do you do on comedy?
Because I've always done comedy sketches, I wouldn't upload anything that didn't make me laugh during the edit, because if I'm not finding it funny, then who else is going to? So that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
Same as me.
You've jumped off already, my friend.
Wow, you're eager.
Ready.
Or were you just leaving? Is that your question? Okay, good. Yeah. Bye. You're going to be knackered, aren't you?
You spoke about what happens after you've grown. How would you manage to grow in the first place?
Anyone who's grown the most recently? Anyone want to take it?
I think a lot of it's about being consistent, because if you keep uploading, people are going to know that they can come back and there'll be new stuff.
Like the Sakona Jolies at 6 p.m.
Boom.
Yeah.
6 p.m., guys.
Right, my two tips are consistency and collaboration. Oh my gosh. Homegirl, quiet down. Because even I just lived in Los Angeles for the summer, and I was able to collaborate with a bunch of YouTube friends and just being connected to the community, obviously for the logistical reason of getting exposure on the channels and all that number of stuff. But as you said, you can't predict that. It's really showing that you're involved in the community, and even if someone's not necessarily hitting the subscribe button, your face pops up and people know that you're kind of like in with the YouTube crowd and that we're all friends, because it's really about relationships, as you said.
But I think it is important to do something you like, though. You know, enjoy it. Like, if you don't like it, if you're making a video series or something that you're not really into, you're not going to keep it up if you're not getting the views. So if you do something that you like, whether you're getting views or not, for the first 2 years, like, no one really tuned in, just my mom and stuff, you know, and it was like, but I didn't care. And even if everyone stopped watching tomorrow, I'd still do it because I love doing it, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Next question. Oh, we have a hand first. It was a hand this time. Oh, I'm sorry you jumped as well.
So I vlog, but I go to school every day, so it kind of makes it hard for me to have interesting topics to talk about. So do you have any like tips for like what you should do if you're a vlogger, but you go to school every day?
Could you do mini vlogs? So like, rather than this is my whole day, be like, this is something that's interested me today.
If you didn't hear that question first, it was if you do stuff as well, like school, like how do you fit vlogs in, essentially?
Yeah. Could you do like when you get home, just do like little 3-minute vlogs of like either chatting like to a static camera about what you've enjoyed today, or like if you go out and do something in the evening, or maybe like OOTDs, or like there's lots of little things that you could do to mix it up. So you could definitely still do it. It's just obviously you couldn't be like, just after school, here I am in maths. Like, I'm not sure like if that's allowed. Probably not. But you could definitely do mini vlogs.
Yeah.
In my case, I in the mornings, well, for this week, I'm doing a PhD in linguistics, something that it's not related at all with YouTube, but you do have time, so you get time to record yourself and vlog your daily life, so it doesn't matter, you can do both things at the same time.
Right, I vlogged being in school for a while, and obviously I don't know if that would be, I'm in acting school, so it's a little bit more accepted. And people really enjoyed seeing what I was doing in school, which I didn't think they would. But yeah, I got people talking about how they liked seeing acting classes and stuff. So it's easy when you have a camera in your pocket, because daily vlogging seems like such a commitment from the outside, but it's really like whatever you want to film, and it's 30 seconds at a time. So for every 3 hours, you just whip out the camera and you film a little clip, and then by the end of the day, you've got 8 minutes of footage that you can just put together. So you can make it work.
Next question. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Straight up. Yeah, you. Oh, don't sit back down. He doesn't know who you are. Yeah. Hello, what's your question?
Hi. Yeah, well, first, I want to say hi to Ro quickly. I'm Spanish, too.
Oh, hi.
And I've been watching you and JP and Rush. Hi. And yeah, my question is for them, like being parents and blogging with your kids, how did you approach, like when you started having your children like online that much? I don't know, like how do you?
I think it's always something that we get asked a lot. I think the main reason that we still do it, and the main reason that we like to do it, is that we see more positives than negatives in that. I mean, daily vlogging and YouTube in general has given me, and also Jonathan, the gift of being able to stay home and work with our kids every single day for their whole entire lives. We've been with them. And that's both of us, not just me. I mean, it's not very traditional to have the man stay at home too, but it's so nice that Jonathan has been able to really be like a stay-at-home dad, but also make a living from that and see his children grow up. And it's amazing when we meet people. That's the one thing that they say, is that your kids seem so happy. I mean, maybe not now because they're screaming in the background, but they seem so happy, and it really is down to the fact that their parents are with them. They get to spend every single day with their parents, and that's all kids really want. And YouTube has given us that opportunity and that gift. And I think Emilia and Eduardo, our kids, are not old enough for you to ask them their opinion, unfortunately. But I think if you asked them, they would probably say that too. They would say, well, it gives me my parents like 24/7, so why would I not like it?
And it's also amazing to be able to watch back. You know, when we started it, we were just dating.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, Emilia and Eduardo can look back in it in years and be like, Mom and Dad, like before they got married, before they had kids, you know. And I would love to be able to see my parents do that. I think it's really cool.
Right, so we have time for one final quick question. Who has a burning desire deep inside them to ask? Oh, yeah, I overlooked you before. You stood up, my friend, and you were very good at standing, but he stood up before as well. Sorry we can't fit everyone's questions in, but this is the final one.
And this is more towards Louise, because you were saying about you had your second channel for vlogging. Like, how would you start that? Because obviously I sit down with a static camera with Canon and stuff like that as well, but I don't know whether to make a second channel for vlogging, because then it takes time to transfer all your subscribers over.
It's a tricky decision. I started off putting all my like out and about point and shoot vlogs on my main channel. So I would just like put everything onto the one channel, because I thought I don't want to like divide my subscribership, and I was like, I'm not sure how many people would really bother going over, so is it worth it? And I got to a point where it was just like my own like particularisms. I was just like, it just looks messy, like to be like 3 days out in London and then a beauty video. It just bothered me that it was all messy. So I think it was when I hit about 100,000 subscribers, I was like, do you know what, I'm going to start a second one and have it just for like chatty, like out and about videos, and it will grow slowly, and that's fine, because they're like so much less effort to do, and they're like not as like well made. And now it's still, my second channel has like half the amount of subscribers as my main channel, but what's interesting is it has the same amount of views, and I think that's because it's a certain type of people that like vlogs, and there's a certain type of people that like sit down videos. So I would encourage you to do it, and just for the first like year, she is loving this point. For the first year, she's happy. For the first year, like, don't worry about subscribers and views, just do it for the joy of it, and they will come eventually.
Right, due to time, we're going to end like a Goodfellas episode in the middle. So thank you very, very much for everybody for joining us. Thank you, David, Ro, Cherry, Louise, Jonathan, and Anna.
Thank you, guys.